People always assume heartbreak is loud. They imagine it as screaming in the rain, shattering glasses, dramatic exits. But the day my heart broke, it was quiet. So quiet that I didn't even notice it happening. Not at first. It started with the way he stopped asking if I'd eaten, the way he'd leave his phone face down, the way he'd come home smelling like expensive cologne I didn't recognize. I told myself stories, lies, really, that he was just tired, that work was draining him, that maybe I was the one pulling away. But deep down, I knew. And denial is a powerful thing. It's not weakness, it's survival. It's your brain throwing a tarp over the body so you can keep walking past it without screaming. His name was Tyler. We met in college. He made me laugh during a statistics lecture, and I knew, even then, that he'd be trouble. The kind of trouble that makes you feel alive. He was charming in that effortless way, like the universe owed him attention, and he just collected it casually. I was quieter, a planner, a list maker. I didn't believe in fairy tales, but he made the world feel just a little more colorful. So I let him in, slowly, stupidly. We moved in together 3 years later. He got a job in marketing. I worked in forensic accounting. We had a dog, a mortgage, a shared Spotify playlist. On paper, we were a normal couple, but love doesn't rot overnight. It erodes, like cliffs at the edge of the sea, one wave at a time. The first crack was on a Thursday. He was late, again. I asked if he'd been drinking. He snapped at me, said I was paranoid. I laughed it off, kissed his cheek, made us pasta. But when I went to put his coat away, I found a receipt in his pocket. Dinner, 2 entrees, 1 bottle of wine, not our favorite place, not a work spot, a table for 2. I didn't confront him, not yet. I did what any self-respecting modern woman would do. I started paying attention. I took photos of his receipts. I tracked his location with the Find My app we both forgot we had. I noticed patterns, late nights, unexplained charges, missing time. And then I saw them. It was a Friday night. I said I was working late. I wasn't. I was parked across the street from a boutique hotel with a fake name on the reservation, and a heart that felt like it was cracking down the middle. She was younger, pretty in that curated Instagram way. She wore red lipstick like a weapon. He kissed her like he'd forgotten I existed, and maybe he had. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I took photos. Then I went home. I poured myself a glass of wine. I fed the dog. I changed into pajamas. And I made a list. Because here's the thing about betrayal. It doesn't destroy you. It transforms you. The next morning, I made him breakfast, kissed his forehead, asked about his plans for the day. I listened to him lie through his teeth, every syllable rehearsed and polished. He was so sure I didn't know. And that was his mistake. He thought I was soft. He thought I would cry, beg, unravel. He didn't realize I was fire, waiting for oxygen. For the next 2 weeks, I played my role perfectly. Loving girlfriend, supportive partner, clueless and sweet. Meanwhile, I collected everything. Bank statements, call logs, hotel bookings, texts he forgot to delete. Every piece of the puzzle he assumed I'd never notice. And I smiled. Because I wasn't planning to leave. I was planning to bury him. Not with violence, not with blood. With precision. I started with her. Her name was Chloe, 27. Worked in HR, lived alone. Easy to find, easier to manipulate. I created a fake account, a believable woman with a fake face and a fabricated job offer. I baited her into a coffee meeting. She never showed up. But I knew she read the messages. Then came his job. Tyler loved his job, loved being the golden boy. I found a financial discrepancy in one of his recent campaigns. Misreported data, performance inflation, just enough to raise suspicion. I didn't report it directly. I made sure it reached the right inbox anonymously. Then, I waited. I watched the cracks form. His phone buzzed more. He answered less. His smiles got tighter. He started drinking more at home, talking less. His perfect little empire was starting to tilt, and he didn't even know why. And I hadn't even gotten to the good part yet. You see, Tyler had secrets. Not just the cheating, not just the lies, real secrets. And I had keys to all of them. When you live with someone for 5 years, you learn things. Like where they keep their backup drives, like who they call when they panic, like how they react when they feel the ground move beneath them. He thought he was in control, but control is an illusion, and I was done pretending. The beautiful thing about vengeance is that it doesn't have to be fast. In fact, the slower it burns, the deeper it carves. I wasn't interested in rage. Rage is noisy, unpredictable, messy. I wanted elegance. I wanted him to bleed by inches, not by blade. Tyler had no idea. He still kissed my cheek every morning, called me babe, sent me dumb memes during the day. I laughed when he did. I leaned on his shoulder when we watched TV. I played the part so well, I almost fooled myself. Almost. He didn't know his job was already on fire. After my anonymous email to his department head, whispers started. Questions. A minor internal audit. They found the discrepancy in his numbers, but chalked it up to an oversight. He got a warning, but the seed was planted. His golden boy image was smudged. Just enough. I didn't stop there. Tyler loved attention, especially online. So I began dismantling him digitally. Fake accounts, comments under his professional posts suggesting dishonesty, a LinkedIn message to one of his biggest clients, casually implying a conflict of interest. Nothing provable, just suspicion. People don't need proof to turn cold. They just need doubt. He started pacing more at home, drank earlier, snapped at the dog, apologized too quickly. He was unraveling, thread by thread. Meanwhile, I documented everything. I had a folder on my laptop titled Vacation Plans. Inside, screenshots, emails, phone logs, a spreadsheet tracking his lies by date and category. If I had wanted to destroy him legally, I could have. But this wasn't about law. This was personal. I needed him to suffer in ways courtrooms couldn't measure. Then came Chloe. She hadn't responded to my bait before, but I knew her type. She wasn't built for chaos. She craved control. So I gave her a taste of chaos. Another fake message. This time, from Ashley, claiming to be pregnant. No threats. Just a simple, "You should know what kind of man you're seeing." She replied in under 4 minutes. 2 days later, Tyler came home drunk. He slurred her name, asked if I'd spoken to her. I played dumb, asked why I would. He cried, said she blocked him, said she thought he was cheating on her. The irony nearly made me laugh out loud. But I just hugged him, rubbed his back, said, "You're better off." The next morning, he was quiet, hollow, like someone had drained the shine from him. I made him breakfast anyway. French toast, his favorite. He barely touched it. His phone rang twice that day. Both times, he stared at it and didn't answer. Later, I heard him arguing in the backyard, pacing, talking to someone named Brent. Another call from work, another client. I didn't care. It was all unraveling beautifully, but I wasn't done. He still had his pride, his friends, his sense of safety, so I went after those too. I sent an anonymous tip to a podcast that specialized in corporate misconduct. Nothing major, just a teaser. Check out Tyler M. from company name. You'll find a trail. I knew they would bite. They always did. And then I hosted a dinner. Just a few friends. Wine, candles, laughter. Tyler tried to smile, tried to be present. But he kept checking his phone, fidgeting. He wasn't used to not being adored. I made sure to bring up Chloe, casually of course. Tyler, didn't you mention someone at work named Chloe last month? What happened with her? He froze. Everyone looked at him. He stammered something about project turnover. I nodded like I believed him. The room kept spinning, but I saw it. The crack. A splinter in his mask. And then came the email. A week later. From HR. They'd received an anonymous complaint. Tyler was being placed on temporary leave pending review. He told me this with shaking hands, pacing in the kitchen. He said it was nonsense. That someone was out to get him. I sipped my tea and said, "That's awful." He looked at me, and really looked, for the first time in weeks. "Do you think I did something wrong?" he asked. And in that moment, I could have ended it. I could have screamed, thrown the photos on the table, told him about Chloe, the fake messages, the spreadsheet. But I didn't. I smiled gently. "No," I said. "I think the world's just unfair sometimes." That night, he didn't sleep. Neither did I. I lay beside him, wide awake, feeling the heat of his unraveling seep into the sheets. His panic, his guilt, the silence between us. Finally full of everything he deserved. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't lifted a hand. But I was burning everything he loved to the ground. And he still didn't know it was me. Paranoia has a smell. It's somewhere between stale sweat and cheap cologne. The scent of someone trying to cover up fear with control. Tyler wore it every day now. It clung to his clothes, soaked into the couch cushions, and hung in the hallway like smoke. He barely left the house anymore. The man who once lit up every room now sat in the dark, curtains drawn, phone face down, jumping at every ping. I watched him slowly shrink. The shine had left his eyes. His laugh, once loud and careless, now came out brittle, like something fragile trying to imitate joy. He was unraveling, and I was the one pulling the thread. The HR investigation became official. He was under review for misconduct, possible data manipulation, ethical breaches. Nothing had been proven yet, but that didn't matter. In corporate culture, the accusation is often the sentence. No one wanted to sit next to him at meetings anymore. Emails went unanswered. His name was quietly removed from an upcoming campaign. He tried to act unfazed. "I'm just taking a step back," he told me over dinner one night. "It's good to rest." Reset, I nodded. "That sounds healthy." He smiled at me, like he believed it. Like he needed me to believe it too. But I knew. Every time he looked at his phone, it was with dread. Every time the doorbell rang, he flinched. Because I wasn't done yet. I had planned this like a storm. Not a flash flood, but a slow creeping swell. I didn't want him to see it coming. I wanted him to drown in it before he realized the water was rising. And now it was time for the final wave. Tyler had secrets beyond Chloe. Secrets that, if revealed, would not only ruin his career, but his reputation. Family secrets. Financial ones. A small trust fund his parents didn't know he'd drained. A business loan from a friend that he'd never repaid. Lies wrapped in paperwork. Hidden behind passwords he thought only he knew. He forgot who set up his filing system. I opened old drives, found tax documents, contracts, hidden folders labeled archives that weren't nearly as secure as he thought. I didn't have to alter anything. I just collected, compiled. Then I booked a storage unit under a fake name and cash. Inside, a folder marked "To whom it may concern." Printed files, photos, backup drives, an envelope with one of his oldest passwords written in my handwriting, so whoever opened it would know it was real. Then I waited. 3 days later, an envelope was delivered to his office. Not to HR, not to legal, to his boss, hand-delivered. No return address. He came home early that day. His hands were shaking, his face colorless. I watched from the kitchen as he stood in the hallway, just breathing, trying to find air. Then he punched the wall so hard it cracked. That night, he didn't speak. The next day, he disappeared for hours. I didn't call. I knew where he was. The office, the lawyers, the damage control. It wouldn't work. I'd made sure the evidence trail was too clean, too well constructed to trace back to me. No fingerprints, no metadata, just truths. Ugly, undeniable, traceable to him and only him. And the beauty of it all? I was still playing the part. I was the calm girlfriend, the supportive partner, the quiet comfort in his spiraling world. He cried in the shower that night. I heard it. That kind of cry people think no one will ever hear. The one that sounds more like a wound than a voice. And I felt it. Not guilt, not pity, just completion. I was almost done, but not quite, because he still hadn't faced me. Everything else I'd taken quietly. His pride, his work, his confidence. Now I wanted the look. That exact second when realization and betrayal met in his eyes and broke something permanent. So I invited him to dinner. Our anniversary. I cooked. I set candles. Played our playlist. I wore the dress he once said made me look dangerously smart. He smiled when he walked in. Hesitant, hollow. "Wow," he said. "This is unexpected." I smiled. I thought we could use a night to reconnect. We ate. We talked. I let him pretend. I let him lean into the fantasy that maybe, just maybe, things could go back. Then I poured the wine, looked him in the eyes, and I told him everything. I didn't yell. I didn't accuse. I laid it out like a story. Linear, precise, undeniable. From the moment I found the receipt to the envelope on his boss's desk. He didn't blink at first, didn't breathe. Then he laughed, a short, stunned sound. "You're lying." I didn't answer. He stood up, knocked over the glass. "You're insane." Still, I said nothing. I just picked up my wine and took a sip. "Why?" he whispered. His voice cracked. I finally looked at him. "You handed me the knife," I said. "I just decided not to bleed." He left that night, tried to slam the door, but it bounced open. I didn't follow. I just sat there, finishing my wine, watching the candle flicker, knowing it was over, and that I had won. The night he left, I sat in silence, not triumphant, not weeping, just still. The kind of stillness that comes after a storm you controlled. I didn't touch my phone, didn't text anyone. I let the quiet wrap around me like a final chapter closing itself. It was over. At least for him. He didn't go far, of course. Tyler was predictable in his collapse. He went to a friend's house, someone who still pitied him, who hadn't seen the cracks yet. He told them his version. That I had snapped, that I was unstable, manipulative, cruel. He forgot something important. I had receipts. The next day, I sent one email. Just one. It included a Dropbox link. Inside, photos, screenshots, voice memos, timelines, financial documents. And yes, a full confession from Chloe, who'd finally responded after I told her what I knew. I didn't send it to him. I sent it to his parents, to his employer's board of directors, to the podcast that had already started sniffing. And then, I waited. It didn't take long. By noon, I received confirmation the board had suspended him indefinitely. By 3 p.m., I saw his name trending on Twitter. Not for a campaign, not for praise. Tyler exposed thread after thread. Strangers dissected him. Former coworkers chimed in. Women who had dated him. A classmate from college who said he'd always been a little too charming, a little too entitled. I watched it unfold. I didn't participate. This part wasn't mine to orchestrate. It was his past coming to collect. That night, he showed up at the door, disheveled, sweating, eyes wide and red. "I need to talk," he said. I didn't open the door all the way, just enough for him to see my face. My calm. He begged. He screamed. He threatened. And then he cried. Right there, on the porch where he used to kiss me goodbye every morning. He collapsed. I let him. Then I said 3 words. "You did this." And I shut the door. He was fired officially the next day. His reputation? Gone. His accounts frozen. His inner circle? Vanished. Even Chloe blocked him. His apartment lease, the one he signed behind my back, was terminated. Creditors came knocking. His world, so carefully curated, disintegrated. I wasn't surprised when I got the call 2 weeks later. It was from the friend who'd taken him in. She said Tyler had checked into a clinic, that he wasn't well, that he was broken. I thanked her. I meant it, because that's the thing about revenge. It's not about watching someone suffer. It's about knowing you'll never suffer from them again. But here's the part no one prepares you for. Winning feels empty if you haven't made peace with what you lost. For a while, I thought I wanted an apology. Then I thought I wanted public humiliation. But in the end, what I really wanted was acknowledgement. To know that I hadn't imagined it. That the gaslighting, the betrayal, the years of making myself small to keep a man comfortable, that it all mattered. And when he sat on my porch and broke down, I saw it, the acknowledgement. He wasn't crying because I ruined him. He was crying because I saw through him. And now I live. I moved cities. I changed my number. I cut my hair. I started a blog under a pseudonym. People think it's fiction. It's not. I sleep through the night. I laugh more. Not because everything's perfect, but because I no longer feel the need to apologize for being smart, suspicious, or strong. Sometimes people ask, "Aren't you afraid he'll come back?" Number, he already did. And I sent him away. Not with fists, not with police, but with truth. And truth, when wielded properly, is the most devastating weapon of all. So to anyone listening, if someone breaks you, rebuild with stone. If someone tries to erase you, write yourself back bolder. If someone treats your trust like a game, flip the board, burn the rule book, and let them wonder how the quiet one became the storm. Because that's exactly what I did. And I would do it again.